Hey Sonny here. Today I'm going to show you how to play the Rover by Led Zeppelin. So let's do the intro first, and then we'll talk about the main riff and then the chorus. Alright, so the intro goes like this. Alright, so the first part you want to play the E chord, which is the open E string, and play the power chord at 7th fret. You got A7 and D9. And you got to do the octave. So I go twice. You play the octave chord. You basically play in the two notes of the same thing, just one octave higher. So you play the 3rd fret on the E string and 5th fret on the D string. Both notes are G. One's lower, one's higher. And use the bottom flash and bottom of your index finger, the flash, to block this A string, so you only hear the E string and the D string. So it goes. So it goes twice on the G, and then twice on the A, which is 5th fret, and then once on the G, once on the A, once on the G, and you play the 5th fret on the A string, and hammer on the 7th fret. What I usually do is that when I hammer on like that, I use the bottom of my flash, my index finger, blocking the bottom string, so you won't hear those notes ring out. All I can hear is just the 7th fret on the A string. Alright, so far we have this. The next part. What I'm doing is I put my index finger over the 9th fret or the D, G, and B string. But I don't play it first. I play the 11th fret and the 11th fret of G string and 10th fret on the B string. You play those two notes and pull off on, and then pull off on 10 to 9th fret. Because you think the string is already 9th fret barring. So you play the 11th fret G and 10th fret on the B, and you pull off a 9th fret of G and B. You play the 9th fret on the D string only. Pause for a second. You do the same thing again. And you mute down up twice. So you go back to the E chord. So go. You go back to the same thing again on the. The second time is a little different. When you play that little, you do the same thing again. You go from you play the 11th fret of G and 10th fret on the B string. You pull off on the 9th fret of G and B, and you mute twice. And then you play this G chord. What I do is I put my ring fingers on the 3rd fret on the E string, and just play that and note. And while my bottom flash, the bottom of my middle finger is blocking the A string, I play the open G and D string together. So you have E3, open D, and open G. As soon as I play that, I play the open D string, play the 2nd fret of D, and pull off on open D, and open E string. So it goes like quickly. Okay. So that's the intro before we go into the main riff. So let me play that again slowly. Once you play that, once you hammer onto the 7th fret, you gotta count like 6 beat before on the 7th beat you'll do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Two, three, four, 1, 2. So again. Okay, so that's the second time of the intro. And after you play that, you go to the main riff. Okay, before we go into the main riff, I want to talk about is that the bending. The hardest part bending is the 4th fret on the D string. You want to bend downward. That way, when you want to pull it down, you raise the note up. While you pull it down, you're still raising the note up about half step. So you go from 4th to 5th fret. And then you do the 3rd fret when you bend. You put the 3rd fret on the G string, you got to bend up. So the D string you bend down, the 4th G string you bend up. So I would practice that. And the second time you bend the 4th fret, you bend it a little further down, almost almost like 0.75 step. So I would practice that first. So you can get. All right. So once you get that down, so down, bend up, and then you can go and you can play the lick. So the lick goes like this. You play the open E string. You play the 4th fret on the D string, pull down, like I just showed you, and 2nd fret on the D string. The next part, you go from the 3rd fret on the G string, you bend up, you bend again on the 4th fret on the D, down, 2nd fret on the D. So far with this. Next part is 2nd fret on the D, and then 4th fret on the A string, pull down. Alright. And you do that again, you pull the 4th fret down again on the A string, and the 2nd fret of G on the D string without pulling, and the 3rd fret on the E string, you pull it down. So when you pull it down, you bend it up, you basically raise the note up. Half step. Open E string. Alright, so that's it. The whole thing slowly goes like this. Again. I'm sorry. No. There's a little variation when you start singing. You play that riff over and over. But there's one variation, it goes like this. So what I do right there is you play open B and open E string together, and you hammer on the 2nd fret on the B string, and you dead stop like that, and then you go and you bend 3rd fret on the G string up, and 4th fret D down, and then 2nd fret on the D, and then E power chord, which is open E string, 2nd fret of E. So that variation goes like this. Slowly again. then 2nd fret of D, and back to the whole riff again. To that variation again. So now you play one more time. So you go open E string one time, and then you play the F sharp power chord at the 9th position, and then 7th position E power chord, D power chord, and then you go back to the 9th fret on the F sharp power chord, and then A power chord at the 12th position, and E power chord at the 7th position. You repeat that again. And the last time you go like this. So again, the last time goes like this. You go from E power chord, 7th fret, and then go to 5th fret. That's a D power chord, and then you go to a C sharp power chord twice, which is the 4th fret on the A string, and then B power chord at the A string. And then you play A power chord open, A, and 3rd fret on the E bend down. Do that twice, and go back to the main riff. So that last one goes like this again. Again. So that's the main riff, and then the variation of the chorus, you can play arpeggio. So basically, I'm just playing the notes, 9th fret on the A. Basically, that's an F sharp minor. So A9, D11, G11, and B10. And just play E major chord. Just play the 9th fret of D, G, and B again. Next one, you do the F sharp minor again. And you play the A major chord at the 12th position. So what I'm playing is I play the A12 and use my ring finger bar in the 14th fret. You play the D, G, and B string on the 14th fret. And then I play like an E major chord. So I got the 14th fret of D, 13th fret of G, and 12th fret on the B string. You repeat that again. I'm sorry. Last time it's a little different. You go. Alright, so what I'm playing is I play 9th fret of A string, 10th fret of 11. I'm sorry, A9, D11, and then B10, and back to D11. And he played the 9th fret of B, G, and D. And he played the 7th fret of B and G and back to B. So far with this. And then and you play this like an A minor shaped chord, but you're playing the 5th fret of B, 6th fret of D. I'm sorry. Repeat that again. 5th fret of B string, 6th fret of G, and 6th fret of D. So far with this. And he played the 4th fret of B string and G string, back to B string. And he played the 2nd fret of B, G, 2nd fret of D. And then you go back to the main riff again. And there's another variation of that that goes. I'll call that a bridge. So what I'm doing is I play the open E string, and then you play basically it's a D chord with the major 7, D major 7. So you got the 9th fret. So you got 7th fret of D, G, and B. You got the major 7, which is the 9th fret of E string. I'll use my pinky for that. So you go one time, twice, one time, and then you move your hands up. You bar 9th fret of D, G, and B. You play that twice. You slide down, and you kind of mute. And when you mute, you don't play it. You don't hear the note, and then you go upward on the old E string. Okay? And it does something like that. That's like a variation. 9th fret, hammer on the 11th fret on the A string. Same thing on the D string. And the 9th fret on the G. Alright, so that's pretty much the whole song to the Rover. The main riff just so cool. The solo, didn't learn the solo, sorry, but the solo is actually easy. I'm showing you the shape, and I think you can try to figure it out yourself, or just improvise. It's mainly over a C sharp minor pentatonic scale. So you play the 9 and 12 on the low E string, 9, 11 on the A, 9, 11 on the D, 9, 11 on the G, 9, 12 on the B string, 9, 12 on the E string. Actually, you can add a 10th fret on the B string too. So you got also 7 and 9 on the A string. So 7 and 9 on the A, 7 and 9 on the D, so you can do something like this. And I moved up here. He played his position here. Something like that. I don't know the solo, but You play the pentatonic scale, the same thing we just did, but you play at the 14th position. So what we have here is a F sharp minor pentatonic scale. Same shape I show you down here, but you will play like 18th fret. I'm sorry, 16th fret on the G string, bend up, and then 16th fret of B and E. This is a typical Jimmy Page lick. And play the 17th fret on the B string, bend up. And use your pinky and play the 17th fret on the E string. That's not the solo. I'm just showing you the different ways you can play, but that's the scale that he uses. Again, you have the C sharp minor pentatonic scale. I got a 10th fret on the B string. And you add a extra note, 7/9 on the 8th, 7/9 on the D. And you got this pentatonic scale here. So that's the whole song through the Rover, and it's a fun song to play. It's one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs. Not the usual, Black Dog, Moby Dick, Stairway to Heaven, that kind of thing. So I like the Rover. Is I think it's a great Led Zeppelin song that's most of the time is overlooked and doesn't play on. It's not being played on the radio a lot. So that's a great song, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.